What is up, everybody? Welcome to the UFC 302 Super Preview. We got the lightweight title on the line this weekend. Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. I know we're super excited about this one. We're going to break down a few of the fights we like in this one. We're going to kick things off with Cesar Almeida and Roman Kopylov. I know you're excited about this one, brother, so take it away here.
Yeah, man. I made a bold claim here. I'll get the tail of the tape up on the screen. We've got two high-level strikers in this matchup between Cesar Almeida and Roman Kopylov. Cesar Almeida, only 5 professional MMA fights. I believe he's 1 or 2-0 in the UFC. People may be saying, what's all the hype about? Kopylov's pretty good. Well, the thing is that Almeida was a very high-level kickboxer before making the transition over. He actually fought Poatan 3 times, and I think it was Glory Kickboxing. Beat him once, lost twice, but never got KO'd. And this guy has heavy hands. He's technical. The only downside is that he's 36. And then on the other side, Roman Kopylov, one of my favorite fighters on the roster right now. Even though he lost his last one out, and I was there to see it, he took it on short notice, and it was still a solid performance from him. This guy is a very elite striker, especially with the head kicks. He can put your lights out in an instant. He's really fast. He's sharp. So I think this is going to be a high-level stand-up fight, and those are usually the kind of ones we like. There is a little fear in my head here that it could be a little Izzy Romero style if they choose to go that way. I think it could play out like that. But I think this is going to be a banger. Both guys are going to be going for it. They're 36 and 33, and they're both still in range of getting ranked and getting some big fights before they're too old. So I think they're going balls to the walls here. You got to play for us?
Yeah, I'm a big Kopylov fan. I've won a couple dollars on him in the past. As far as this one goes, I think I had the under, I want to say. Let me check my official bets here before you put them up. Yeah, I have under 2.5. I just think that, like fear you said, of is them just standing in there and both being technical and trying to be sharp. I see that, but also these guys, just when they fight, they go for finishes. They either get finished or they go for finishes. So I'm all over the under 2.5 here. I think it's a close fight, but I think the way that someone wins is via finish. So I'm all over the under here. I'll take my chances that these guys finish the fight how they do.
Hell yeah. I hope Kopylov can get it done, but I feel like the UFC is kind of doing him dirty with this matchup because let's face it, anyone that comes from that Glory Kickboxing tree because of what Izzy and Poatan have done, they kind of have a little boost in the UFC's eyes, I feel like, just because they're going to get those flashy knockouts and they have a very fan-friendly style. So I think they kind of gave him another striker in Kopylov because as long as you feed him strikers, it's a good look for him. And I believe Kopylov was a minus 120 or 130 favorite when the odds opened. So has moved towards Almeida a little bit here.
Yeah, so Almeida is 5-0 with 4 finishes, and Kopylov is 12-3 with 11 wins via finish. So I'll take the odds there.
Got to be feeling good about that.
Yeah.
Next fight, we've got Rude Boy Randy Brown taking on Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. That is a long name. I'm just going to call him Zaleski for short. But this is another fight that I'm excited about. Zaleski has rattled off some good wins in his UFC career. He actually beat Sean Strickland and Benoit Saint Denis, which is pretty crazy to think about because he's a welterweight. Strickland's a top middleweight and Saint Denis is a top lightweight. But at one point in time, those guys were all welterweights, and Dos Santos got the best of both of them. He put it on Saint Denis, had one of the craziest rounds ever in that fight. And Randy Brown, 6'3", moderate favorite here. He's fast, he's lanky, he's sharp. I think I like Randy Brown here. I kind of think the matchup is a good style for him. Dos Santos can put people out, but I think Randy's going to be able to stay away, stay on the outside, kind of touch him up a little bit. What do you like here?
Yeah, I'm all over Randy Brown here. It's going to be one of my bets. Santos, he's coming off a draw and a split decision win. Could have gone either way. And then he has a unanimous decision win over St. Denis and then a split decision loss. So he's getting wins, yes, but they also, a couple judges' decisions goes the other way. Randy Brown coming off a knockout, 4-1 in his last 5. So I'll go with the younger guy. I like his reach here. I like his height advantage. So I'm all over Randy Brown here.
And Randy Brown's only loss was to Jack Della Maddalena, I believe, in those last 5 fights. And that's not a bad loss. I mean, not too many people are going to outbox or outstrike Jack Della. It's one of my guys. And one other thing that also makes me like Randy Brown here is that Zaleski lost to Muslim Salikov back in 2020, and Randy Brown KO'd him. I believe it was his last fight with that straight right. So common opponent, Brown beat him, Zaleski lost. And Zaleski, 37, like you said. So let's ride. Rude boy. All right. Next fight of the evening. This one, not as exciting as the previous two. Two heavyweight grapplers here. Yalton Almeida taking on Alexander Romanov. Probably two of the top 5 grapplers in heavyweight at the moment. Definitely Almeida, maybe Romanov. But I am all over Almeida here. Obviously, he's a minus 320 favorite, so that's not that crazy of a thing to say. But Romanov, just his conditioning is not great. He's gotten noticeably chubbier since he got in the UFC, probably after he got a couple bonuses or a couple wins or something like that. And he's a good grappler, but he runs out of steam very quickly in fights. So I'm all over Almeida here.
Yeah, I agree. I think Romanov's path to victory these days is sub. He hasn't had a knockout win since 2021, and you're just not going to sub Jailton Almeida. I think Jailton Almeida is better on the feet, better on the ground, wherever this fight goes. He has better cardio, so yeah, I like this here. I would look for you guys, whatever you like. Try to throw Almeida in a parlay. You know me, I'm never laying 300, but do you think Almeida gets a finish here?
I was going to go Almeida by sub, but I found something that I like a little better. On my book Bovada, I found Yalton Almeida to win and round 2 to start for plus 115.
I like that.
Because Romanov, he'll be fine in the first round, or at least the first half of the first round, but I think he's going to run out of gas. And it's hard with Almeida because we've seen him literally lay on Derek Lewis for 25 minutes, but then we've also seen him get a submission in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the fight.
Yeah.
So I would be leaning towards Almeida getting the finish in the second or third round on this one.
Okay. I like it. Might look into that one.
Dude, a lot of fan favorites on this card, especially this next fight. One of my guys, Kevin the Trailblazer Big Mouth Holland, taking on Michael. I'm going to quote you here. I'm not saying his full name. Michael Olek. Just makes it easier for everyone. And even though Kevin Holland's coming off back-to-back losses, it was 2 pretty good ones. It was against Jack Della Maddalena and most recently MVP on UFC 299. So obviously it would have been better if he won those fights, but I'm not going to dock him for that. He is moving back up to middleweight for this. I heard him say in an interview. Once it's I guess that doesn't really make sense. He said in the winter time he goes up to middleweight, and in the summer he wants to cut down, but we're basically in summer and here he is up at middleweight. So maybe he just had a few too many joints, a few too many cookies, some brownies, something like that. Anyway, I'm all over the Trailblazer here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be desperate. He has to get a win here. If he loses 3, that'll be 4, and there'll be 2 and 4 in his last 6. He definitely can afford to lose this one. I think you just have to look at this fight as where you value Kevin Holland. Do you think Kevin Holland is that guy that he says he is, that guy that he once was? If you think that, then he's desperate here. He needs a win. He gets the win. If you think these recent losses are trending on the way down, then you have good value here on Michael Olek. One thing that I'm going to take here is, again, for Holland. I think if I had to bet the fight straight up, I'd probably take Michael. But Kevin Holland's last win was sub, and Michael's last 2 losses were by sub. So I like the Kevin Holland by sub look here. I just think Kevin Holland kind of needs to go back to the way he was, a quick finisher, get in, get out, and then get another fight. He likes to have quick turnaround. So look for that early finish here from Trailblazer.
Yup. And Holland, so there's been 3 times in his career where he's lost back-to-back fights, and all 3 of those times he's won his next fight via knockout. So I do believe he's getting the finish here. I had him at You could get him for knockout at plus 240. I did not see what the submission odds were, but I would guess they're pretty close to there. Or you
Yeah, I
could get
think
him
about plus
inside the
3.
distance at minus 120, which shows how much Vegas thinks he's going to finish this fight.
I
I think
like
that's a
that.
pretty safe play. It's not great taking minus odds for someone to get a finish, but in this case, I'm feeling pretty confident about
Yeah,
it.
but when it's someone like that where the way they win are from finish, um, and you think about Holland is you got to look at it like we've seen in the Stephen Thompson fight, like he's either going to finish you or he's just going there to get finished. He doesn't want to be in there for long. His last decision was 2021, so he's definitely. Oh, I lied. I lied.
Yeah,
He went to
MVP
split
got it.
decision with he went to split decision about last 2 fights, but again, he was just losing those fights. I think if Kevin Holland's going to win, he's a big favorite. You got to take the guy to how he gets wins, and those are finishes.
Yep. Let's go, Trailblazer. And I really hope he wins this because if he loses, I don't think he's going to be in danger of getting cut or anything like that. But I think people are going to stop taking him seriously
Yeah.
altogether if he were to lose this one. This next fight, two of the funniest fighters on the roster. We got a lot of really funny fighters on this card, but here's two funny ones for you. Sean Strickland taking on Paulo Costa at a kind of maybe sort of title eliminator at middleweight. Depends how the other fights go. But anyway, Sean Strickland coming in as at a pretty big favorite here, minus 265. Paulo Costa plus 215. My opinion on the odds here is that Sean Strickland's not a 2.5 to 1 odds better fighter than Paulo Costa, but the way that their styles match up, everything points towards Sean Strickland here.
Yeah, I like Sean. I can just never get around to bet on Paulo Costa. I just can't. I like him. I think he is a good fighter. I think he's a great fighter. I think he has a chance in this fight. I just can never see myself laying money on. I just can't trust the guy. Um, he's looked good. Like he's looked good. He looked good against Whitaker. Obviously lost in the unanimous decision, but I mean, his last win was other than Rockhold, who's now in bare knuckle, who's a retired fighter who came off what 2-3 year layoff.
And
Other
did not look
than that,
good
his
in that
last win
fight.
was Yoel Romero in 2019, who's also retired. So his last couple like resume isn't very good. He lost to Marvin Vettori, unanimous decision. We haven't seen Vettori in I don't know how long.
Since Cannonier whooped his ass like
Yeah.
last year. Dude,
Yeah,
that
so
is
I just his track record is not good. I think the reason we think of him being good is just because of how he talks and the way he talks. But yeah, I gotta go with Sean Strickland. You gotta respect Sean Strickland, man. Like he made a real run at the title and had the title and has had some big fights since then. So I'm all over Sean Strickland here.
Yeah, he's done a great job. And if he wins this, he's got to be next for the title shot, I would assume, after Izzy or on that spot, either way.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's right on the border. That fight or the Australia card is in 2 months from now. So I feel like they're probably not going to book Strickland no matter what, unless he just takes zero damage and has a really impressive win. But I think we're looking at Izzy versus Dricus on that Australia card. And then maybe a Strickland Izzy part 2. I guess Strickland will be getting a rematch either way. Let's get you back in the mix.
Yeah, give me back hype again, man. Let's go. Come on. Tired of this nonsense. It's gonna take 4 years off. Now let's get back in there, man. Come on. What a story it'll be. What a story it'll be. I can't wait.
Okay, so I got a bet on this fight. Bovada coming up clutch with these double chance bets. I'm really liking them. Maybe I'm getting scammed, but this one right here seems pretty airtight. Sean Strickland by decision or Paulo Costa by knockout / TKO for minus 120.
Yeah, I think if Costa wins, it's probably by knockout.
Very small chance Strickland finishes Costa unless he just like runs out of gas completely.
Yeah.
Bro, they were being hilarious in the press conference. I was watching it right before this, and they were almost doing like a podcast. They were just talking back and forth. Like a reporter would ask a question, then they would just cut each other off, and they were just having a full-on conversation. And they did it at least 2 or 3 times, and they were just being cool. They were like, yeah, I like him, but, we got to try to go kill each other.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Oh, one more picture I had. I forgot I put this in here. Paulo Costa had a little Little staph infection. This is his picture from fight week. So currently, I'm not a doctor. I don't really know how much that's going to, affect your training and affect the fight, because these guys are obviously tough as hell and they're dealing with stuff all the time going into fights that we have no clue about. But this doesn't look good. I mean,
Yeah,
do you,
I don't like that at all.
the last one with Saint Denis, I think it was on his forehead or something like that. People were hyping that one up, and he did say that he wasn't able to train as hard and cut weight. And you take medications for it, and with those fighters, their bodies are like a well-oiled machine. When you take some medication during a weight cut, I'm sure it could mess you up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely saw that. It was definitely. I mean, it obviously didn't change what I thought because I was all over Sean Strickland, but not doesn't look good.
No, does not at all. I would not want to kick someone in the head with that on my foot. I wouldn't want to
Yeah,
get kicked. Like, I don't get how. It's crazy how a fight on the prelims will get yanked for staph infection, no questions asked. But if it's a main event or a co-main event fight, they just kind of
yeah,
sweep it under the rug. Too much money to be made.
yeah, exactly.
All right. The time we've all been waiting for. The main event of the evening. And who doesn't love a lightweight title fight?
Mm.
Probably the greatest division in UFC history, definitely in the last 5 or 10 years. Just so many great fighters at this weight class. And I mentioned it earlier this week. If Islam wins this fight, he's going to tie Khabib Nurmagomedov, Benson Henderson, Frankie Edgar, and BJ Penn for the most title defenses of all time at lightweight, which is crazy, with 3. What are your initial thoughts on this one?
I just keep going back and thinking of what I said Tuesday, where you have to look at the first Volk and Islam fight. And at that point, it's a matter of, do you think Poirier can replicate that? That's what it comes down to. Do I think Poirier in this stage of his career is as skilled as Volk was in that fight? No. I think if you look back at that Volk and Islam fight, the first fight, that was some of the most high level MMA we've ever seen ever in the history of the UFC. Um, so is Dustin Poirier at that stage now? No, I think Dustin Poirier is slightly past his prime. But do I think Dustin Poirier is just as tough as that? 1,000%. And he's bigger. He's fought here before. Am I saying Dustin wins? No. But you look at that number, plus 460, plus 500, it's hard to not take it. It's just, that's what you got to ask yourself. I do think he can go the whole distance with Islam. I do think that. Do I think he's going to win 3 out of 5 rounds? Probably not. But I think he can make this fight a lot closer than what people are thinking. That minus 600 is very disrespectful.
It is very disrespectful to a legend like Dustin. But one thing I think that definitely separated Volk in that first fight from Dustin right here is the submission defense. We'd seen Volk, especially in that Ortega fight, we'd seen him get out of some of the worst submission spots possible. The guy's almost unsubmittable. It kind of seems like that, just with the way he's built. He's so compact, can tuck that chin. And it's not like he was in good spots all the time against Islam. There were times where Islam had his back and had him in a spot where it could lead to something not good, but Volk just did not put a foot wrong on the ground in that fight. And
Yeah.
Dustin's a good grappler, but we've seen him get submitted, I think, 3 times in the UFC. So I just think Islam's going to sub him. I've got to stay true to that. I think I'm going to bet it as well. I hate to do that. And if I don't want to be rooting for Islam during the fight, but I also want to make money on this because I'm pretty confident Islam's going to sub him. That's how I'm feeling in my bones, in my heart.
What is Dustin's path to victory? I don't think Islam's boxing gets enough credit, but you got to think Dustin's a better boxer.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I think people are also sleeping on, I'm not saying Dustin's going to get head kicked again, but Islam has some pretty nasty head kicks too. I think that could be an unspoken aspect of this fight. No one's really been talking about it, but I think that could play a role. I think if Dustin, his path to victory, just finding that chin on the feet, not I would say not going balls to the wall either, because if he rocks Islam and rushes in trying to finish him and Islam grabs his legs and gets him to the ground, that's going to cancel out that round right there and ruin Dustin's chance of knocking him out. So I think he's just going to have to play it pretty safe here. Like, obviously he's got to go balls to the wall finding the chin, but when he has Islam hurt, I think he should be smart, do what Suga does. Just kind of wait for a bigger opening and then knock him out there. And we've seen Islam get knocked out before, so it's not like he has some iron chin. It's not like Khabib where he's never bled. But I also think Islam's a better striker or he's obviously better than Khabib. But yeah, I don't see much of a path. I think Islam's too good everywhere.
You're kind of talking me off this, bro, because if you don't see a path of Dustin, then fuck.
Shit. I'm not a huge Dustin guy, though. He beat my guy Max twice, beat Connor twice. So I've never been a huge Diamond fan. I respect him, obviously, legend of the game. Here's something that might talk you back into it a little bit though. Another staph infection. This is just a week
that one
of staph infections. This one ain't as bad as Costa's, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, Connor told me they all have that, so they're used to it.
Bro, I was gonna put Connor's tweet on here. That shit was hilarious. He hates him. He really just hates him.
Yeah, I think obviously it affects people different ways. I'm not taking too much into this with Islam.
No, and I think that's a spot where you see the video of him in training. Just put a sleeve on it. Probably forget it's there.
And Khabib in the corner, confirmed.
Bro, you see that video game picture Khabib posted, like the edit where Khabib's holding the video game controller like under a picture of Islam?
That's tough.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. I'm sure Khabib didn't even know that it went on his Instagram. It was just Ali posting it, but still I messed with it.
Dustin Poirier has definitely got to shock the world here.
I do. One thing that scares me being an Islam better here, though, he might be overlooking Dustin. I think
Looking at who, though?
Just thinking this is an easy fight. Maybe looking at Leon or Bilal.
I just don't think they're wired like that, bro.
That was my next point. Like, Islam's been acting like he's not worried about the diamond. Kind of reminded me of Michael Jordan during The Last Dance when he said, I didn't have no problems with the glove. It's kind of the vibe I get with Islam about Dustin. But they might just be that confident because we saw Khabib do the same thing. They're just that confident in the work that they put in and the steroids that they put into their body.
Yeah, I think that they're so disciplined. They're so locked in at the task at hand that they're looking ahead isn't even a question to them.
Man, I'm excited for that fight. Either way, I like Islam too. A lot of people hate on him, I think, just because he's a Dagestani and because he likes to wrestle and hold people down. But he's an elite striker. He's a funny guy. Seems pretty cool. I've seen he put an open invitation out there to any UFC fighter. He said, if you guys want to come to Dagestan, we'll take care of your housing, your food, show you around. So I think they're cool. I think Islam also wants to kind of open up their circle a little bit more than Khabib did.
Yeah.
Because you would never see Khabib like openly inviting people in the media, at least. Maybe behind the scenes he did, but it seems like Islam's kind of trying to
fight Bilal. Would Islam fight Bilal?
That's what I was thinking, because Bilal goes there for camps and they're good friends, but Bilal's one fight away from he has the title shot up next, and if he wins that kind of
but I don't think he'd fight him, because I don't think it's like, if it's like in your division, but you wouldn't, because when you go up, you're specifically targeting someone, so it's like you can just wait.
It's like how Kamaru waited with Izzy.
Yeah,
and again, Kamaru might have became the double champ if he went up there. I mean, there's no telling how that fight would have went, but that guy was looking so good up until that head kick. He was looking unbeatable.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I don't think they'd fight, personally.
And that's just not going to sell. Maybe if they were two huge names, like if it was Masvidal and Dustin, like they trained together, but that would be nuts if they were both champs. But I mean, Islam Bilal, that would probably be the most underwhelming double champ fight we've had in recent memory, definitely.
For sure.
Let's see. One more stat to throw up here. I was showing you this before we hopped on. Another one to make Dustin bettors feel better. Didn't try to do that, but the Paulo Costa curse. Dun, dun, dun. going all the way back to UFC 212.
Oh, dang. 3 champions lost on 217?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bisping, Cody, and Joanna. And then UFC 225, Stipe lost to DC. And then 241, DC lost to Stipe. 278, Usman Leon head kick. So we've seen crazy stuff happen before with Kamaru on the card, with Paulo on the card. The odds were way bigger that time for Leon, or not way bigger, but he was like what, plus 800?
Yeah.
And then Volkan Topuria, man, that one hurts. That one hurts my soul. I just got flashbacks right there. That's a stat. That's a stat. I don't think it's not like as telling as the fighters over 35 have lost this many.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another stat playing into this one. So remember that when you bet Dustin Poirier, guys. Go look at fighters' records in title fights when they're 35 years or older. Go check that out. Let's get your bets up here.
Let's do it. We're going to go Almeida and Kopylov under 2.5, kind of like I referenced earlier. I just think they're both finishers. They're both going to go in for the kill. I think they're going to stand in there and bang. So I think either one of them gets the finish. I don't know who wins. I like Kopylov, but I don't know. I'm just going to take either one to finish under 2.5, minus 125, 50 to win 40. Randy Brown, younger, longer, coming off a win. We're going to go big on him, 100 to win 55, minus 180. Kevin Holland, last win via sub. Michael Olick, last loss via sub. So we're going to go Kevin Holland to get the finish by sub, plus 300, 30 to win 90. Then we're going to go Costa Strickland, over 4.5 rounds, minus 105, 50 to win 47. Is it 5 rounds?
It is. It is.
Okay. Yeah, so over 4.5 rounds. I just think that, like we said, Strickland wins, and the way Strickland wins is he just picks you apart for 5 rounds. So we're going to take our chances there instead of laying that juice on Strickland. Over 4.5, minus 105, 52 and 47. This one I like a lot. It took me a lot to not put more on it, but it also just scares me, man. It also scares me that I just have a total misread on this fight. Everything that I've seen just tells me I'm totally misreading this fight. But scared money don't make none. We're going to go Poirier Islam over 2.5 plus 140. I think Dustin Poirier is tough enough to last over 2.5 rounds. I'm going to take my money and put it on toughness, and I'm going to say that he can do that for me. And then I'm going to take a chance that he can win. Anytime you see a legend like Dustin Poirier in a title fight plus 500, you have to take it. So I'm going to take him plus 500, 30 to win 150.
Man, my friend Garrett had a great quote about the Dustin odds. He said, I would feel so terrible if Dustin did win and I wasn't a part of that history, getting those great odds on Dustin.
Exactly.
So that's kind of a good point right there. Why not throw 10, 20 bucks? I mean, I'm going to throw big on – that doesn't make sense. I was going to say I might even just throw a little on Dustin right before, but that's just pointless. Anyway, I've got one snipe of a bet that I'm feeling great about. Islam by submission in round 2, 3, or 4 for plus 300. Like you said, Dustin's too tough. He's not going to get taken out in the first round. And if Islam's going to submit him, chances are the fight's going to be going his way pretty heavily. And I don't think it'll take him 4 rounds to do that. So if I'm going to lay a decent amount, even though this is plus 300. I've been saying it a ways out. Islam by sub. And I heard Khabib and Islam, every interview, they've said second or third round, brother. So I'm going to trust my daggies here.
All right. I like it.
Hell yeah. And after this week, dude, we are cruising all the way until this Sphere. There's so many good cards coming up. I'm fired up. Next week, it's all right. We got Cannonier versus Imavov, but it's in Louisville, a city card. So those are always elite.
Yes, sir.
You got any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
I don't, man. Just enjoy the card. One of these cards where it doesn't come around often. I think we're coming down to the last couple of days of Poirier. So just enjoy it. Enjoy his greatness. Give him his flowers.
That's facts. Oh, and he is walking out to
I saw that.
Diamond by Rihanna, but the guy singing it who sounds like an angel, rest in peace. I think he passed away. I don't remember his name, but amazing voice. And the world's going to hear it on Saturday night. remixed into the man or the boss by James Brown. It's going to be up there with Superstar. People are going to hate me for saying that, but it might almost be as good as Sugar's Walkout.
Yes, sir. Can't wait. Let's go, baby.
All right. Deuces.